Long known as being one of the best featherweights during his time, but there have been some disappointments. He's had some frustrations. We will talk about that as he tries to elevate his status to a higher stage. As for Jimrex Jaca, he is from the Philippines like Manny Pacquiao. He is a southpaw like Manny Pacquiao, but that's pretty much where the similarities stop, at least for now. Jaca is more of a counter puncher and not quite the Tasmanian devil that we see out of Manny Pacquiao, but he will certainly be trying to make a name for himself tonight on HBO. Well, we just showed you Manny Pacquiao taking on Erik Morales. One fighter who gave Pacquiao one of his most difficult bouts is the fighter who you're going to see in our main event, Juan Manuel Marquez. It happened 2.5 years ago. Marquez at the time was a title holder. In the first round, Pacquiao was explosive, getting to Marquez not one time, not twice, but 3 times, sending Marquez to the canvas, all with left hand, Manny. But after that,
that's what
Marquez settled down a little bit.
That's why I think that Marquez has a very good chance of beating Pacquiao in a rematch, because he actually started off like losing on a point system, like 4 rounds down before the fight started, and still with the remaining 8 rounds he ended up with a draw. So to me that was almost the same as a victory. So I think that Marquez not getting hurt in the first round may have possibly won the decision in that fight.
And Marquez has not had a fight as big since then, but he still believes that he's ready to be in the ring again with Pacquiao, and also Marco Antonio Barrera. The problem for him tonight is that Jimrex Jaca might not be the type of opposition that he needs to face to look impressive, to wow over the fans here.
Juan Manuel Marquez says that the thing he's most proud about the Pacquiao fight is that he demonstrated to the world that to beat him, you have to kill him. Well, that's not true. You come to kill Juan Manuel Marquez, you lose. To beat him, you have to box him, as Freddie Norwood did, as Chris John did recently, as Jaca will try to do tonight. And that puts Marquez in a very tough position, because he's old for a south of lightweight fighter. 33, by the way. Older than Pacquiao, older than Morales, older even than Barrera. He's actually the oldest of this quartet. And so the clock is ticking on his career. Most people would like to see Marquez fight Barrera next. Barrera's the bigger name. Marquez has to make a statement here tonight to get Pacquiao next. It's going to be tough against the guy who's here to box him. His back is against the wall. The stage is set for one of the best pound-for-pound fighters of the last 7 or 8 years. He's been maybe the best featherweight this entire time. It's a tall order.
I'll tell you what, earlier in his career, he may not have been willing to admit that he needed to look spectacular, but he did tell us today, you know what, I need to look impressive to see if I can regain inside the public's consciousness. All right, tail the tape now for this 126-pound bout between Juan Manuel Marquez and Jimrex Jaca. And there you see, Max talked about the age difference. Marquez 10 years older than Jaca. They are both 5'7". The arm length, which is measured from the armpit to the end of the fist, Marquez with a 2.5-inch advantage. Both fighters making the 126-pound weight limit here. When they stepped on our unofficial HBO scales, both fighters weighing in at 136 pounds. All right, the rules of the bout now with our unofficial ringside scorer, Harold Letterman.
The Juan Manuel Marquez Jimrex Jaca fight is scheduled for 12 rounds using the unified rules of the Association of Boxing Commissions. There is no 3-knockdown rule. The doctor or the referee can stop the fight. In case the cut is caused by an accidental headbutt, we go to the scorecards after 4 rounds have been completed, and you cannot be saved by the bell in any round, including the 12th and final round. Fran.
Jimrex Jaca from Dumaguete City, Philippines, just 23 years old. This is only his 2nd fight in the United States. He turned pro when he was 16 years old. What can we expect, Max, from Jaca inside the ring?
Boxing, boxing, and more boxing. He's a southpaw who uses the perimeter of the ring, and he will try to do that against Juan Manuel Marquez, who's a devastating counterpuncher, not only because he's accurate, but because he hits with real power, particularly with the left hook.
A closer look now on Jaca with Max Kellerman.
Well, his given name is Jemuel Divino. Jimrex is the name of his gym, and Jaca is his father's name. It's typical in that part of the world to name yourself after the gym from which you fight. He is used to earning $1 per round. He started his pro career 4 rounds, $4. That's not a euphemism for $4,000. That's $4. 6 rounders, $6. I wonder if he thinks he's fighting 50,000 rounds tonight because he's getting 50,000 bucks. And this is a huge step up. He's fighting, as we mentioned, one of the very best fighters in the world in any weight class.
Won his first 22 fights, but he has 4-2-1 since then. Juan Manuel Marquez from Mexico City, Mexico. Started boxing at 8 years old. Started his amateur career at 13 years old, Manny. This is the guy who comes from a fighting family. His father was a professional, had about 40 fights. This guy's had a great career, but not the kind of career that he believes he'll be remembered for. Why not?
Well, you know, he's felt one of those fighters, unfortunate, like Mike McCallum and many fighters of the past who were great fighters and just happened to be in unfortunate situations at certain times in his career. He did not get a chance to fight Barrera when he could have, possibly because Barrera and he was both promoted by the same promoters. And the reason he didn't get to fight Naseem Hamed and Morales is simply because he was just too good. And these guys did not want to take a risk with him because they were big money attractions and he wasn't. He was just too good.
All right, a closer look at Juan Manuel Marquez with next color.
Well, he, along with his brother Rafael Marquez, I think are the best brother tandem in the history of boxing. Maybe Mike and Tommy Gibbons from the teens and 20s of the last century, but I think they're better than the Klitschko's, better than the Ruelises, and better than the Canizaleses, better than the Quarries. And the interesting thing is it's not clear which one is better. They're both totally excellent. They're married to sisters. I think that's pretty interesting. And it's really been a lost opportunity in Marquez's career. He could have made $750,000 against Pacquiao for an immediate rematch, turned it down, and has made much less in subsequent fights.
All right, for the official introductions, let's send it into ring announcer Lupe Contreras.
Ladies and gentlemen, before beginning our main event of the evening, we'd like to take this opportunity to remember one of the true legends of the sport of boxing. An individual who not only embodied every aspect of the sweet science with his brilliant defensive skill and his masterful boxing technique that earned him 2 world titles, but also a very well-deserved spot in boxing's Hall of Fame. And as we do with all fighters and members of the boxing community who have passed on, we honor their memory and their contribution to the sport with boxing's traditional 10 count. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise. And a moment of silence in honor of one of the all-time greats, Willie Pep. Un momento de silencio, por favor. Gracias. To a true boxing legend, ladies and gentlemen, may he rest in peace. Que descanse en paz. Thank you. And now, from Dodge Arena, Hidalgo, Texas, we welcome you to an evening of boxing after dark being brought to you by Oscar de la Hoya's Golden Boy Promotions in association with the Mexican state of Chihuahua, Tierra de Encuentro. Tampico Energy Drink, the new Tampico Energy Drink es el más bravo, and HBO Sports. This is the main event of the evening. 12 rounds for the interim WBO Featherweight Championship of the world. Supervising for the WBO, Luis Perez. The judges are Rocky Burke, Dr. Ruben Garcia, and Levi Martinez. The referee, Lawrence Cole. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the Philippines and Mexico face off once again in the ring to find out who is El Más Macho. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner and wearing the colors of his homeland, red, white, and blue. He weighed in at an official 123 3/4 pounds. His professional record, 27 victories with only 2 losses, 1 draw, and 12 of his victories coming by way of knockout. Fighting out of Negros Oriental, the Philippines, Jimrex, the Executioner, Jaca. Across the ring in the red corner, dressed in the colors of Mexico, green, white, and red. Weighing in at 124.5 pounds. He maintains an impressive professional record consisting of 45 victories, with 3 losses, 1 draw, and 34 of his victories coming by way of knockout. The former WBA and IBF featherweight champion of the world, and the defending WBO interim featherweight champion de la Ciudad de México, DF, Juan Manuel Marquez.
All right, gentlemen, I gave you instruction on the dressing room. Obey my commands, fix up at all times. Good luck. Buena suerte.
Max, you mentioned that Juan Manuel Marquez, 33 years old, and for a fighter in a division south of 130, it's old for him. How has he been able to stay young, as he believes he's still in his prime?
One of the things that has held him back in terms of his marketability is he fights dispassionately and doesn't take unnecessary risks, doesn't get hit a lot, but it also means maybe he has a little more left in the tank.
And also, even though he's maybe older than Barrera and those guys, he has not been in any war fight that I can remember. The only one was Pacquiao, but other than that, he's been able to get through his fights just using his skills, so therefore he isn't as much worn and torn as the other fighters are.
He's younger in boxing years.
The boxing years is much younger. Barrera and the guys, Morales, and has done a lot of big super fights.
I'll tell you what, so far, Jaca is making the fight a little more than anticipated.
Marquez in the traditional Mexican colors. Jaca in the red and blue. He is a southpaw. Marquez says, no worries. 4 of the last 6 fighters who he's faced have been southpaws. You know, now he gets a little nervous. He's got to go up against a conventional fighter. And there you see Marquez land a straight right.
Marquez is fighting a lot more aggressive than he normally and punching with a lot more authority. He seems to be very determined to be impressive tonight.
He does, but I'll tell you one thing. Jaca has fast hands, and he's making Marquez's hands look a little slower, I think, than they normally look.
Yeah, but Marquez is going for power tonight, I think, more so than technical.
Well, Marquez got burned 2 fights ago. He lost a decision that more than a few observers thought he should have won in Indonesia against Chris John, who is undefeated.
Manny mentioned he's going for power. As you mentioned earlier, friend, he even acknowledges he's looking for the KO tonight. I never heard him say something like that.
Yeah, and he's got caught with a beautiful straight left right there by Jaca.
Jaca doing work to the body, but Marquez spins him around and now goes to town in the corner.
This could turn out to be a much more exciting fight than we all expected.
It was a left hook from Marquez.
Marquez and Jaca trading blows, and we're just 2 minutes into the first round.
You know, I thought that Jaca was going to be more of a boxer looking at the films of him in the past, but he's seemingly trying to be a power puncher tonight, the same as Marquez. It means we have a good, exciting fight on our hands.
Marquez doubles up with the left hand and unloads a right in a nice combination.
He's fighting a fast southpaw from the Philippines, but this one doesn't hit like a ton of bricks as Pacquiao does.
Nice stuff here in the opening round of a scheduled 12-rounder between Juan Manuel Marquez and Jimrex Jaca.
Jimrex is trying to land almost the same identical straight left through the center that Pacquiao was so effective with when he fought Marquez.
When we go to the corner of Jaca, where they speak Tagalog, Ernie Kalug will translate, and when we go to the corner of Marquez, where they speak Spanish, you will hear the voice of Jerry O'Reilly.
Grasa.
Te cascó uno aquí.
You hit you on the side, eh? How's everything? Everything's doing well. Box him. Remember to box.
Jim, relax ka lang masyado.
Relax ha. Gigil ka. Relax ha.
Huwag ka masyadong gigil, Jim.
Gigil ka.
Don't get carried away.
I only need 1 second, so you need to get out.
Don't get carried away.
Right after Marquez had got caught with a good straight left from Jaca, then he put Jaca in the corner and started to unload himself.
CompuBox numbers in round 1. Marquez 18, landing 18 out of 54. Jaca 18 out of 80.
Thought that replay was a great illustration of technically how good Marquez is. On offense, you saw it there. Straight right hand. Excellent uppercut. Left hook.
And there you see how Harold Letterman scored the first round, and he gave it to the youngster from the Philippines, Jaca. This fight was supposed to take place just over a month ago. Jaca had some visa problems. And in between now and then, he has joined Golden Boy Promotions.
I respectfully disagree with Harold, which doesn't often happen, I find, but I think that it was Marquez who did some of the hurting in that round, although
couldn't tell if Marquez just was off balance or if he got rocked. Seems to be steady on his feet now.
Marquez is a wee tad slower than he normally is, I think, because he's trying to fight for power tonight. Normally he's a lot faster, a lot more elusive with his upper body movement. And the way he's fighting right now, this is anybody's fight, because he himself got caught with a right hook, even though he might have been off balance. It could have been a facial knockdown still.
He just landed a straight right.
Nope. And also the Jaca just landed a left little uppercut inside.
There we go, man.
You know, going into this fight, it doesn't seem like this is the kind of fighter that would prepare you for Manny Pacquiao. And yet, Manny, it looks to me like Jaca's fighting similarly to Pacquiao in many respects.
A little slower version, not as intense, not as fierce, but still definitely a version of Pacquiao.
And main thing is not the punching power.
There is a cut over the left eye, I believe, of Jimrex Jaca. Marquez unloads. A right hand. And there you see what Marquez does so well. He leaned back and he counterpunched with his left.
But Jaca's counterpunching him also sometimes when he comes in. By simply moving back, which is interesting because I thought he would be moving around a lot more, but Jaca's just taking a little step back sometimes, just enough to let Marquez miss.
Over time, class tells. Let's see if it tells in this fight, if Marquez can make adjustments and start to pull away.
Marquez trying to end round 2 with a flurry. They will go to work on the cut of Jimrex Jaca in between rounds.
Sit down.
Only one inside, get up. When you sit down.
Defense. 2 punches. 1, 2. What's your defense? What's your defense? You're doing real good. Real good. But be careful. Don't go in too carelessly.
Here we said Jaca land a right hook as Marquez was coming in. And it's a left. And he lost his balance, but still it could have been controversial knockdown if his gloves had touched the floor because he would not have went down without being hit.
Agreed.
This is just the second fight in the United States for Jaca. The last one was pretty impressive against Geronimo Hernandez. It was a first-round TKO. He was fighting on the undercard of Pacquiao Morales 2.
He's given Marquez a lot of problems because of the little step that he pulls back a lot, just enough to make Marquez get out of position himself. Instead of throwing punches and just staying there, he punches and then he pulls back just enough, like he does right there.
Nice wide left hook shook Jaca.
Manny, I've heard you describe Tito Trinidad in his prime as a killer robot. He figured out what he needed to do in the first few rounds, and then he executed. And Marquez throughout his career has reminded me of that. It's still early in the fight. Generally, he starts to dominate as the rounds go on.
I don't know if he's going to be that effective. This guy seems to have his number here tonight. This kid is fighting a very intelligent fight. Very elusive up in his upper body right there. Very focused. And Marquez cannot get a good, consistent rhythm going with any combinations.
Punch was blocked by Jaca.
But it was blocked with such force from Marquez that I think it did a little something.
And I think ditto on that one.
Yeah.
It was blocked, but there was some pepper coming off that from Marquez.
And I've seen Jaca miss a little bit more in this round than he was earlier.
Yeah, but the one thing we know that once Jaca slows down at all, Marquez is going to step it up, take it to another level.
I see Marquez applying a little more pressure here.
It's not only that, but Jaca was always keeping that little distance between them. He's not that effective with it now, I think, because he's tiring a little bit. Where he was always pulling back. Now Marquez is beginning to get his range now.
Marquez showed you a little bit of the speed that he says he has left.
He looks like a slower fighter to me than he did.
He looks slower to me. I agree. He looks slower. He looks seasoned, very professional, but still slow.
At least compared to this guy.
Marquez starting to settle into the fight now. Jaca unloads an uppercut. Jaca's punch output slows down just a little bit. Marquez trying to steal another round with a flurry at the end. And the crowd here at Dodge Arena on its feet.
How you feeling? All right? Very nice, very nice. But wait a bit. Hit him in the middle of the body. Hit him slow. Relax.
What's your head? What's your head? Jab. Use your uppercut. Use your combination. Use your hand.
Seconds out, let's go.
And there you see Bernard Hopkins and Oscar De La Hoya, the two powers behind Golden Boy Promotions, who Marquez is now with, as is Jimrex Jaca. Let's bring in Harold Letterman to see how he has to shoot the fight.
Okay, Fred. 2 rounds to 1. 29-28. Jimrex Jaca. That first round was very, very close. Could have gone either way. I was really surprised at the style of Jimrex Jaca. I mean, this is two guys standing there fighting on a dime. In any case, the second round, Jaca staggered him. I thought he won that. But round 3, one man Will Marquez had his best round of the fight. 2-1, Jaca.
It's not uncommon for Marquez to start slowly. It is uncommon to see him fight with this kind of passion. He seems to be not only fighting aggressively, but like he really is trying to take this guy's head off.
Both fighters now opening up a little bit here in the 4th round. If he had matched this kind of passion in previous fights, he maybe then
would have gotten the fights that he wanted to have.
Or perhaps he wouldn't have won some of those fights and not been where he, not been as dominant as he was.
All right, touche.
But that's the tightrope that Barrera has walked in recent years, where he's become technical when he's needed the win and exciting when he was clearly better than the other guy.
But that's following a long career where he was explosive.
Yes.
Nice overhand right from Juan Manuel Marquez. Jaca now trying to lead with the left hand.
Jaca doesn't have the punching power, Marquez, but he's fighting a very good fight, and thus far, this round seemingly is winning the round.
Normally against southpaws, Manny, guys are on guard for that straight left hand and don't see the right hook. Marquez seems to be caught with that straight left hand a little more than you'd anticipate.
Yeah,
Why?
I'm noting I'm really beginning to have a lot of second thoughts about the fight with Pacquiao, because Pacquiao punches with a lot more speed and power than Jaca.
On the other hand, the fact that he looks vulnerable still, he is fighting a southpaw with a good straight left hand, and that's put him in kind of the, he's active against a guy like that. Might that not be an advantage against Pacquiao in a rematch?
But what I'm concerned about, Marquez seemed to have lost just a little step in his speed, and you can't do that with a guy like Pacquiao.
Close up.
Échame. ¿Cómo te sientes?
How are you feeling?
Sí.
Feel good?
Bien.
Good.
Ganas el round, pero no te expones percances de un cabezazo.
You won the round, but be careful.
Cabezazo.
Don't come in with your head. Careful with your head.
Take over the fight.
Set mo sumbag ni mo na, ha? Set mo sumbag. Angin na mo ta. Okay.
Right here, you can see Jaca landing little short punches here. Not enough power on him, but still he's becoming a much busier fighter than he had been the last round. And as a result, he's probably back into the fight on the scorecard, whether it's according to what Harold's score or the official score. But I see it as a close competitive fight on the scorecards now.
I think it's an even fight.
And you saw Jaca's corner, Jose Reyes there, the cut man, with that cut under control over Jaca's left eye. In the 5th round of a scheduled 12-rounder here at Dodge Arena in Hidalgo, Texas, Fran Charles alongside Emmanuel Stewart and Max Kellerman. And this was supposed to be a rebirth here for Juan Manuel Marquez. He's got his hands full.
He does, but I'll tell you what, should he come out with a win here, I think this is more in his interest than it would have been to just chase a guy around for 12 rounds.
Well, the opponent is fighting him perfectly, and especially if he's looking forward to fighting Pacquiao. He's got a watered-down version of Pacquiao right here in front of him.
This is why some fighters don't watch tape, and Jaca says he doesn't watch tape of his opponents, because maybe the guy on the tape isn't the guy you face.
Well, gamesmanship maybe there by Marquez. Jaca, he wanted to make sure everything was all good. Marquez wouldn't touch gloves. And now there's a cut.
Stop. Time. Neutral corner, right there. Right there.
Over the right eye, it's a gash.
And it's bleeding. It's kind of spouting blood.
I think it came from a punch, too.
Accidental. 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 Accidental headbutt.
All right, referee Lawrence Cole says it came from an accidental headbutt.
Okay. Could have, because it's a very hard, bad cut. When you see two heads bump together, that's what happens when two skulls crash. The flesh in between gets busted. Very bad cut.
I'll tell you what, if Harold's scorecard's right, that puts Marquez in some trouble.
And Marquez, you can tell, sensing he doesn't want the fight to be in danger because of the cut. Going to work here in the 5th round.
This is the 5th fight that we know of with Jaca where headbutts have been an issue.
We have not seen Marquez in his career, except for the Pacquiao fight, vulnerable. And it's that kind of invulnerability that has made him perhaps less marketable than, say, Barrera, who seemed more human through the years.
Blood now.
Come back from a bad cut over his eye, down perhaps on points.
Yeah, see what happened.
To beat a guy, that will go a long way towards making him a more popular fighter.
Marquez shot a big volley trying to, get even after getting cut. And now that he's trying to take a little break, Jaca's trying to take control again.
Blood streaming down the right side of Marquez's face.
Time, no punching.
And now Dr. Miguel Duran will go to work on Marquez's cut.
Damn headbutt. Is it okay? Don't worry about it. It's all right.
I can't change the way they fight, though. I can't change that. Accidental.
Bring your head up. All right, that's it.
You should uppercut. You should want to combination. Watch your hand. Defense on the hand. Defense on the hand. Come on.
Let's go.
The headbutt happening in the 5th round, an accidental headbutt, but the fight is stopped due to the headbutt. They will go to the scorecards to determine a winner. Power punches in round 5, about even. Marquez landing 14 of 43, Jaca 12 of 40. Nice right hand from Juan Manuel Marquez.
Sometimes when fighters aren't good anymore, as good as they used to be, you find out if they're great. And Marquez, though he has some wins against guys like Derek Gainer and Manuel Medina, has never had the signature win against a top guy. He drew with Pacquiao. He lost to Freddie Norwood, controversially.
Rocks Jaca there with 2 rights.
Should he win dramatically here, that's something new in his portfolio, and I think raises his profile among the top fighters in this weight class. And he does seem to be fighting harder since the cut.
And he's, to me, landed more punches in the fight, clean punches, than Jaca. But Jaca still seems to be so relaxed and seems to be very comfortable with the situation, and has been able to take all of the power shots from Marquez, which means that it could be a tough fight for Marquez as it goes down the stretch.
Well, it wouldn't be a dramatic win if it wasn't against a determined guy.
Yeah, Marquez is fighting very determined. I'm very impressed with that. But I'm also equally impressed with this young guy who seems to be unawed about this pro-Mexican crowd, when particularly they're excited about after what happened with Pacquiao in the Mexican last week.
I mean, showing some maturity, Manny.
A lot of maturity, yeah.
Really is. He's getting hit, and it doesn't seem to be taking the fight out of him. Pockets.
Manny, it was only a couple of weeks ago where your fighter, Vladimir Klitschko, he suffered a cut, and we saw his pace pick up a little bit.
Yeah, but that's what good fighters do. When you tell them to pick it up, at least they go out and they try to. And I think Marquez has tried to do the same thing. Good right hand. Good right hand.
Marquez landing flush upstairs on Jimrex Jaca.
Very determined fighter. Now, I like what Marquez is doing. He used to throw that long 1-2, and Jaca was getting out of the way of it, but now he's just getting closer, shooting a right-hand lead off the bat now instead of the 1-2. And he's been more effective. There it is again. By shooting the right hand without shooting the left, he's been more effective, and Jaca can't time it.
The blood streaming down on the right side of Marquez's face. You see him wiping it off. In between, firing big shots. fellas. Safe to say, not what we expected halfway through the bout.
Definitely not what I expected.
A pleasant surprise.
That's right.
It's a much better fight than I expected.
Échame la grasita. Bien.
You're doing good. You're okay. Don't worry about it.
Voy. Gracias.
What about Celine? How are you feeling?
Bien. El otro se ha venido a menos. Pero ya le clavaste ahorita el último puntazo en la panza.
Here we see the headbutt that caused the bad cut right there. You see the blood coming in immediately right after the heads clash.
And Manny, not unusual. You have a conventional fighter taking on a southpaw, and fighter's trying to get in.
And yeah, a lot of things are totally different and unexpected to me in this particular fight.
You know, Marquez's Sunday punch is his left hook, and he has not been able to land that very cleanly very often. It's the straight right hand, and maybe that's one of the reasons Jaca's still around this late in the fight, despite the fast pace.
All right, we are through 6 rounds. Harold, how do you have it?
Okay, Fred, 58-56, won Manuel Marquez. Fred, I got to tell you, I think this kid's won 4 rounds in a row. I'm talking about Marquez. Even with the bleeding, even with the blood going in his eye, he's landed a great right hand, and he's winning these rounds. But I want to say something. You were right about we go to the scorecards after the 4th round in case, you know, the fight is stopped by that cut. But I got to say this. If the fight is stopped in the middle of the round, you score the partial round. So therefore, you got to start fast in every round. Make sure you don't lose the first half because you got to score that partial round. 4-2, Marquez.
Marquez catches Jaca with a left uppercut.
Jaca has a good chin. That's the only reason he hasn't been knocked out, because Marquez has caught him with good punches, and Marquez punches good with both hands. Even though he punches good with the left hook, he has a good right hand. But Jaca just takes a good punch.
Not only is this the kind of fight that will endear Marquez to the fans, but maybe it will make other top fighters think that he's more vulnerable than he used to be, and therefore make it easier to make some of those top fights.
Well, that is truly the case, I believe. I think he gets hit a little bit more than he used to, but he's fighting a lot more, too.
Jaca momentarily there thought he got hit low. Lawrence Cole wasn't having it.
If it was a straight punch on the belt line, so it means that maybe mentally he's starting to fall apart a little bit. But there was nothing serious about the low blow.
Nice uppercut by Marquez, and then he does a nice job of stepping back to get some separation, and he comes back with a left.
I mean, for Marquez, he just landed a right uppercut from the outside against a world-class southpaw.
Yeah,
That's so, I mean, how do you do something like that?
And no punch has wobbled this boy Jaca yet still. He's been hit with some tremendous shots, but none of the punches have caused him to get in any trouble.
Juan Manuel Marquez, as I mentioned, he lost 2 fights ago. Unanimous decision to Chris John in Indonesia. He counterpunched his way through that fight, even though he thought he won it. In his last fight against Turtsak Chandang, we saw this type of effort from Marquez.
He's fighting a very good, exciting, power-punching fight tonight, and very determined.
The fight was stopped in the 7th with Marquez winning.
Marquez, the Norwood fight, most people thought he won. He lost the decision. The Chris John fight also, most people thought he won. I thought both fights were very close. But in Marquez's mind, he's an undefeated fighter.
Eight rounds. These are timing.
This is where you got to dig in, baby. You got to dig in, all right?
Second time. Let's go. Stop.
Juan Manuel Marquez comes right out in the beginning of the 8th round and lands a left hook. Jaca's getting the biggest payday of his career, as you mentioned, Max, $50,000. He says he plans on going back to the Philippines. He wants to build a house. He has a wife.
You can build a couple in the Philippines with 50 grand. He looks like $1 million tonight, though, considering the level of opposition. He's really fighting a spirited, inspired kind of fight.
He says he has no other hobbies. Boxing is it.
Should be said also as we watch Marquez and you think about Pacquiao. People are talking about Barrera in a rematch with Pacquiao. Barrera got knocked out in 5 rounds. Marquez drew in a fight I actually thought he won. Many people did. He didn't lose to Pacquiao. He drew.
It was 2.5 years ago, though.
Yeah, but since then, you know, Barrera got blitzed. Morales got blitzed twice.
The second bite. You okay? Okay? The second bite, okay? That second bite. What is it? Time in. Box.
All right, Lawrence Cole letting us know it's a second accidental headbutt. And you can see once again, Marquez wants to take matters into his own hands. Jaca standing right there with him, going toe-to-toe.
But Jaca came right to him as soon as netted punch for punch.
What an exchange. What a great exchange.
You know, Jaca's going right to him. He's not taking it easy. Both guys are meeting each other head on.
Blood streaming down his face, Fran, down Marquez's face in a furious exchange with a determined contender.
If they go to a scorecard, based on what I'm seeing, Marquez still could win the fight, possibly.
He's not trying to win on the scorecard.
No, they're going for the knockout, both guys.
Marquez sensing the danger with the cuts. Blood now covering the right side of his face.
Time right there. Come here. Come on. Come on, Juan. How many you got? You're ahead on the scorecard. Okay? When you see how many kills I got. Hold on. All right. Hang on. Time in.
It's a little odd there. Lawrence Cole telling Marquez he was ahead on the scorecard.
Definitely odd. I'm very seldom. I don't recall ever hearing that.
He's basically telling him, it sounds as though he's implying, if you decide you don't want to fight on because of the cut, you're going to win. And Marquez, to his credit, wants to fight on. That's no small thing, folks. His face is ripped open, and he wants to fight on.
How could Lawrence Cole have any idea what the scorecard said?
I don't know how he can know, and if he did know, it's very unusual and seemed like out of order for him to tell one of the boxers that is. But
they're talking about open scoring in fights, guys, and that's the kind of stuff that would happen in an open scoring system. Guys would quit if they were ahead.
That's it? How are you feeling? You tired? No. Come on, you've got to attack his body. Attack his body. If not, it's going to be more difficult. Tell the referee about the head, but
I can't change the other guy's style. He's not doing it on purpose. I can't take points away. It's accidental. I cannot take points away.
here you see another headbutt, but I don't think none of them was as intentional as just the style of the two fighters. The way that the heads keep clashing.
Well, you heard Lawrence Cole say, I can't take another point away because he's doing it accidentally. It's just his style. Marquez with a 25-9 advantage in power punches in the 8th round and 30-17 overall.
When a southpaw fights an orthodox fighter, that happens. There are going to be headbutts. By the way, I said fighters would quit in an open scoring system. There are pros and cons to open scoring. That is a potential con. that fighters with less heart than Marquez would quit knowing they were ahead in the fight.
And a lot of fighters, once they realize that they are comfortable hit on points, they would just actually run the rest of the fight, even if there's no cut involved, just on points, which is what you see a lot in international amateur boxing, which makes it so boring now. Once a guy find out he's 7-2 ahead, he says, oh, I got 3 more rounds to go, I'll just run.
To Marquez's credit, he's not looking just to win, but to win in a way that will kind of tip the scale away from Barrera and towards him in terms of public demand for a Pacquiao fight.
And he's got 4 more rounds to go altogether. Just the fight is still just a third of the way to get, still left to go. That's a long time when you're bleeding like that.
And the guys, a point that was just brought to my attention from the truck, Marquez may not have even known what Lawrence Cole was saying. He may not have understood him.
Good point.
See, Jaca wanted to take advantage of the situation. Marquez's corner doing a nice job on that cut, because it is hardly as much of an issue, the blood that is, as it was in round 8.
Really nice job, you're right.
Nacho Bernstein happens to be his trainer, cut man, and manager.
Doing it all, huh?
And has been his manager since he was a kid. I guess when he was about 8 or 9 years old. He's been always the boxing guy in his life, for he and his brother Raw. Rafael.
Jaca now trying to do some work against the ropes, and he comes back with a strong left hook to the body. Oh, big left hook by Marquez. He doubled up, and it floors Jaca. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
I'm surprised.
I don't think Jaca knows where he is quite.
No, he probably didn't see the punch. But it seemed like he was aware, but just totally just confused.
That's his Sunday punch, Manny, the left hook. When he catches you with a hook clean, you gotta go.
Great victory for Marquez.
Jimrex Jaca seemingly was taking everything that Juan Manuel Marquez had to offer until he got caught with a double left hook.
Well, after this victory, I would love to see Marquez get a super fight with Pacquiao. Win or lose, he deserves it.
Has he tipped the scales for you away from Barrera and towards himself for the next guy for Pacquiao to fight, Manny? He has for me.
I think because of the drama of this fight compared to Barrera's last victory, the public would probably want to see Marquez now more so than Barrera, which I wanted at first.
And there you see the knockout right there. And watch it with the left hand from Marquez. Doubles up, and it was the second one that put Jaca on his seat, and he didn't move from that point on.
Yeah, you might be wondering, why isn't he trying to get up? I think it's a case of him just not knowing where he is.
I'm still confused. I cannot figure it out. It seems like he's aware.
Yeah,
he's not really hurt that much. The fact that he's setting up, not on his back. But nevertheless, he was knocked out.
He did. He looked cognizant of what was going on, but sometimes a fighter can look that way and still be totally dazed and confused. That's what we want to see as fight fans. His face torn open against a young, determined, fast guy who's not scared of him.
Lupe Contreras is ready, Max, with the official particulars.
This bout comes to an end with an official time of 2 minutes, 48 seconds of the 9th round. Your winner, by way of knockout and still WBO interim featherweight champion of the world, Juan Manuel Marquez.
Marquez gets a knockout in the 9th round against a young, tough customer from the Philippines. But tonight was Marquez's moment, almost a coming out party for a guy, Manny, who had a great fight against Manny Pacquiao a couple years ago and seemingly was looking to duplicate that feat. All right, final copy box punch stat numbers on the night for the fight between Marquez and Jaca. And there you see, Jaca was busy, stayed in there, hung tough, threw 16 more punches, but Marquez landing 50 more total punches, landing at a connect percentage of 36%. And here you see the damage that Marquez inflicted, always almost getting the last punch, and in the power punching range, throwing more than 70 plus more and landing almost 60 more, Manny, than Jimrex Jaca. Max Kellerman is standing by with a winner.
Standing by with 3 of the best fighters of the last 15 or 20 years. Juan Manuel, congratulations. Assess your performance.
Gracias. Estoy muy contento. Una gran pelea. Yo creo que la gente salió.
Very happy. It's been a great fight.
Salió muy emocionada.
People came out with lots of emotion.
You haven't been in a fight like this except for Pacquiao, where your face was busted up and you were in with a determined guy where you had to maybe come from behind early to score a knockout. Were you determined to score the knockout?
Sí, yo creo que queríamos ganar por nocaut y gracias a Dios se logró la pelea.
I wanted to win by knockout.
El médico me decía si podía ver.
The doctor kept asking me if I could see, and I said yes, but I thought he wanted to stop the fight.
The ref, in fact, said that you were up on the scorecards. Were you aware that the ref told you that?
Sí. No, el ref no me dijo nada.
No, I didn't know. He didn't say anything to me.
Íbamos ganando la pelea,
we knew that we were winning, though.
El doctor quería pararla,
but the doctor wanted to stop it, but I wanted to keep going.
You wanted to keep going because you know you have to do something dramatic to drum up interest in a rematch with Pacquiao?
No, yo creo que yo hice mi trabajo, un buen trabajo. Yo creo que
I did my job, a good job.
Jaca es un gran peleador y
Jaca is
yo creo
a
que
great
merecemos
fighter,
grandes oportunidades.
and we should both receive great opportunities.
Did this kid surprise you at all? Did he remind you of Pacquiao?
¿Te recordó Pacquiao?
No, yo creo que sabíamos que Pacquiao es una cosa y Jaca también son grandes
Pacquiao
peleadores.
is one thing, Jaca is another thing. They're both great fighters.
Pero veníamos preparados a todo.
But we were prepared for everything.
Congratulations, Juan Manuel.
Thank you. Quiero mandar un saludo a unos familiares que tengo ahí en la Milpilla, Jalisco, a un amigo que le hice el Toto, a mi familia y a todos los que siguen mi carrera.
Toto and all that follow me. Thank you.
Thanks. Guys.
All right, Max.